Today we will begin reading The Mystery on Ice. The Mystery on Ice is part of a series of books called The Boxcar Children. There are over 150 books in this series, so if you like this book, there are a lot more that you can read as well. The author is Gertrude Chandler Warner, and she was an American first grade school teacher. Have you read any Boxcar Children books?
Yes.
What do you like best about the stories?
Mystery.
That's right, they are mysteries. The Boxcar Children are stories about 4 orphaned children. Do you remember their names?
Henry, Jesse, Violet, and Benny.
Yeah, that's right. Do you know what orphaned means?
It means someone without a parent to take care of them.
That's right. How do you think it would feel to be orphaned?
Sad, lonely.
Yeah, I think it would too. Do you know why they're called the Boxcar Children?
Because when their parents died, they went to a city, and they wanted to live with these 2 people, but they were gonna take Benny, the youngest, to a orphanage, and so Henry, Jesse, Violet, and Benny all escaped to the boxcar with their dog Watch. That's how they got their name.
Okay, yes, they lived in there, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So what genre is this book? Do you know?
Mystery?
It's a mystery and it's also fiction. Is fiction imaginary or is it real?
Imaginary.
Yes, it's imaginary. So what are some things that mysteries have?
Like they have clues and problems and suspects.
Okay, and sometimes when we read these clues, we're able to make some predictions about what might happen in the story. So are our predictions always right?
No.
Nope, and do they sometimes change along the way?
Yes.
And that's okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, so we're going to talk about a few of the vocabulary words that we're going to see in the beginning of this book. Our first one is wide-eyed. Listen to this sentence from the book using wide-eyed. Benny watched wide-eyed as they passed sparkling windows filled with toys. What do you think that means? What do you think wide-eyed means?
Your eyes are super wide.
Like maybe he's excited because he sees something that he likes?
Toys.
Right, okay. Another word that we're going to talk about is heaped. Here's a sentence from the book that I want you to listen for as we read. Benny ran down the walk, which was heaped with snow on either side. What do you think heaped means?
It means that like there are piles on either side.
Piles of snow on either side of the walkway?
Yeah. Or anything else.
What do you mean, or anything else?
I have a container heaped with Orbeez.
Oh, yeah, that's a good example. Okay, so some of the words that we are going to hear in our book have long vowel sounds. Do you know what what a long vowel sound is?
Yes, it like tells that if
if the long vowel sound is the letter A, what would that sound like? It would sound like A, and if it's E, what would it sound like?
E.
Yeah, a long vowel sound is a vowel sound that's pronounced like its name. So some of the ways we would hear the long A vowel sound would be through vowel teams. So here's one vowel team that we might use to hear the long A.
Stay.
And the word stay. So what are our vowels in this word?
A and U, and they're a vowel team.
A and what?
U and Y.
A and Y, that's right. A and Y. So there's a little saying that we use to remember how the vowel teams work. When two
vowels go walking, the first one does the talking, like this.
So which one's doing the talking in the word stay?
A.
The letter A. Very good. Okay.
I didn't change it.
There are other vowel teams that do the same thing, such as in the word brain. What's our vowel team in this word?
AI.
That's right, AI. And who's doing the talking?
A.
Very good. All right, so later on we will do a little word work with long A's and long E's. But for now, we're going to keep going. Let's take a look at the book. Okay, can you take a look at the cover? Tell me what you see on the cover. What are the children doing?
Ice skating.
Uh-huh. What's the season?
Winter.
Winter time. That's right. And what is the older girl doing with the little boy?
She's helping him get up.
Yeah.
'Cause he fell.
Yeah, Jesse's helping Benny get up. So could we maybe infer from this cover that the siblings are nice to each other and maybe help each other?
I think I know why, because when they were in the boxcar, they had to work together if they wanted to survive.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They didn't have an adult taking care of them, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, good. So can you turn to the next page, please?
Books.
All right, yes. The next page is a list of lots of different Boxcar Children books that you might read if you enjoy this one, and there are even more than on this list.
Yeah, I know. There's the second winter special and the third.
Okay, so can you turn to the next page, please?
I bet it's a table of contents. Dang it.
What is it?
It's like the cover page.
Yeah, this is the title page because we see the title of the book. We see, do you know what this name is?
Cheeto.
Gertrude
Chandler
Warner. And why is her name on this page? What did she do?
She created it.
Yep, she
It
wrote the
literally
book.
says created by
Yes.
Gertrude
Right.
Chandler Warner.
Very good. And then illustrated by
Charles Tang.
And what does illustrated mean?
It means that like he draws all the pictures.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, I love drawing pictures.
Good. All right, can you turn the page and let's see what comes next?
Table of contents. Yeah.
All right, on our
Do it.
next page we have the table of contents. And how is this this book broken up?
Into chapters.
It's a chapter book, that's right. And the titles of the chapters might give us clues
About what's going to happen in that chapter.
Yes. And so how are they organized? What do we have? What numbers do we see there next to them?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And how about these? What are these numbers?
The page numbers
Yep.
to probably the beginning of each chapter.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so why don't you turn the page and we will start reading chapter 1. So you and I will take turns reading chapter 1, okay?
Okay.
All right, so how about you go first?
Hurry, Benny, Jessie called from downstairs. I'm hurrying, 6-year-old Benny answered. Impatiently slicking down his hair, he wanted to look his best tonight for Joe and Alice Aladdin's party. Their cousins, who had invited all the Aladdins for a surprise celebration. What were they celebrating? He was glad Joe and Alice had moved from Pine Grove to Greenfield. He liked them a lot. Violet poked her in the head and "Are you ready?" She paused. "You look handsome, Benny." Benny grinned as he followed her down the stairs. "You look handsome too, Violet." Jessie was waiting at the bottom of the stairs. "Yes, Violet does look pretty." 10-year-old Violet in her lavender sweater and jeans beamed. Jessie, who was 12, wore a white cotton shirt and a chocolate-bound sweater, which matched her long hair and brown pants. Watch their dog sat by the door. He barked, hoping to go along. "Not tonight, Watch," Violet said, patting his head. "Struggling into her ski jacket," Jessie said. "Grandfather's warming up the station wagon." "Where's Henry?" Benny asked, looking all around. "In the car with Grandfather," Jessie replied, pulling the hood of her jacket over her head.
All right,
Benny?
I'll read. Let's stop for a minute and let's make a prediction. What do you think the exciting news might be?
They're getting a girl named Suli that's Korean.
Well, in this case, we know the exciting news because you have read this chapter, but you're right. And can you make some predictions about what some other exciting news might happen in the story?
Go ice skating?
Yeah, it could be. So we'll keep reading and see if that prediction comes true. Betty put on his down jacket and pulled on his mittens. I want to see what Joe and Alice are celebrating, don't you? Yes, Violet said. It sounds like a surprise, and I like surprises. Jessie laughed, opening the door. So do I. It was odd that Grandfather didn't act as if he was going to be surprised. Every time they mentioned the dinner at Joe and Alice's, he just gave a knowing little smile. She was certain he knew what was going on. Benny ran down the walk, which was heaped with snow, on either side. He'd helped Henry shovel this morning. He jumped into the back seat. We're all together and we're off to a celebration, he shouted, sitting next to Jessie. Grandfather glanced back at his grandson. That's right, Benny. He smiled, pleased that his grandchildren always got along with one another so well. The car wheels crunched over the packed snow on the short drive through town. Benny watched wide-eyed as they passed sparkling windows filled with toys. In the town square, a huge Christmas tree towered.
Are we looking for Dazed?
We'll see if we get to it. In the town square, a huge Christmas tree towered, gleaming with red and green lights.
Can I read?
Yes.
Next to the tree stood a giant memorial. Its candles casting light over the glistening snow. When they reached the edge of Greenfield, where Joe and Alice lived, fluffy snowflakes have started to drift onto the ground. Good weather for ice skating, Jessie said. Better weather for hockey, Henry teased, his eyes sparkling. He knew, though, that Jessie was the best, most graceful skater of them all. Here we are, children, Grandfather said, parking before an old, gray, shingled, three-story house. Tiny white lights twinkled on the pine tree on the spacious lawn. Doesn't this house look beautiful, Violet said? It's very different from the way that it was when Joe and Alice first bought it, she giggled. Remembers Joe foot breaking through the porch step?
All right, stop right there for just a minute. I'm going to read next, and I want you to listen how I stop for punctuation and how I read with expression. You ready? Okay, read along with your eyes. Henry got out, opening the back car door for Benny and the girls. We did a lot of work on the old Roth house before Joe and Alice moved in, he said. We sure did. And remember, we thought the house was haunted, Benny said, running alongside Henry on the way to the front door. Lifting the eagle door knocker, which was framed by a large evergreen wreath, Benny waited. He stomped first one booted foot, then another. You children have cleaned many places, Grandfather said. The deserted library and... You want to pick up here?
The old motel, Violet added. But each place was different. It's fun to see the before and after. Don't forget we stayed by ourselves in the boxcar, Henry said. Remember we ran away so we won't have to live with a grandfather we never knew? He paused, smiling. We didn't realize how lucky we were when Grandfather found us.
Okay, let's stop right there. So let's think about a couple of things. On page 4, there's some words that give us clues about the time of year. Do you see any words on page 4 that might tell us what time of year it is?
Christmas, red and green light, snow, snowflakes.
So what time of year is it?
Winter.
And what holiday are they about to celebrate?
Christmas.
Yep, that's right. Very good. What do you think it says? Don't forget, we stayed by ourselves in the boxcar, Henry said. Remember, we ran away so we wouldn't have to live with a grandfather we'd never known. He paused, smiling. We didn't realize how lucky we were when Grandfather found us.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think it is that they didn't want to live with their grandfather?
Because, well, it says it in the book they never knew him. So they didn't know what he was going to be like. They didn't know if he was going to be mean or nice. So they just didn't want to take the chance.
Mm-hmm. And from what we've read so far, what can we infer, or what do we know about the relationship between the grandchildren and the grandfather?
Well, really good actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they seem like they're happy to be with him now. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think living with your grandfather is much better than living in a boxcar.
That's right. I think it probably is too. All right, good. All right, let's stop here. And I want to do a little bit of word work now as some
5
extra.
minutes remaining.
Thank you. As some extra practice. So we're going to do a word sort of long A and long E words. And I've cut them out for you just to make it go a little more quickly. So let's see. So we have, what column is this?
Long A.
Okay, and what column is this?
Long E.
Good.
I already put Mayson.
So, here we go.
Heap. Oh, excuse me. Needle. Needle in the haystack. Beam. Sheep. And skate. I'm pretty sure. Oh, right. All right, so gaze.
And what vowel sound is that?
A.
Yep, long A.
Gray. Grain. Skate. Train.
Okay, awesome. So with the word gaze, let's take a look at this word. That makes the long A sound because it has what's called a magic E at the end. When we see a word with that magic E, it tells us that it makes a long A sound. All right, great. So let's take a look now. Let's do a little bit of prediction practice work.
Ooh.
Then I'm gonna ask you a question, and then I'm gonna have you make a prediction about what might happen next, okay? Sam wanted to buy ice cream at lunch but forgot his money. What do you think happened next?
He went back home to buy some ice to get some money. Then he went back to buy some ice cream.
Okay, and how do you think he felt?
Sad that he didn't get any ice cream.
And then if he did get the ice cream, how do you think he would feel?
Happy.
Okay, good. So let's make a prediction. Chloe was looking forward to playing her soccer game all week. The morning of the game, she woke up and it was raining. Her mom told her that she had some bad news. What do you think happened next?
Her mom told her that the game was canceled.
And how do you think Chloe felt?
Sad.
Yeah, good job. All right, for the last thing, our last practice, we're going to look at a couple of our words, and I want you to do an illustration.
Oh, drawing.
Yep, we're just going to do one of these right now. Let's do wide-eyed. Can you draw an illustration that would show us wide-eyed?
All right. So this is a normal eye. This is, you know. Eyes are very wide.
And is there something that person might be looking at that's making them wide-eyed?
Yes.
Like what?
Like $50 million on the ground.
Okay. All right. How about, can you draw an illustration for the word heaped?
All right, so path for the path. And then the pile.
Okay. Very good. Very nice. All right. So we have made some predictions about what we read, and we've practiced reading with expression.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So are all of our predictions necessarily going to be right?
No.
No, and that's okay, because we're reading, what kind of book are we reading?
A mystery book.
A mystery. So we might get little clues along the way that help us learn more about what actually is going to happen and more clues about our solution. Okay?
Okay.
So we've also learned some new vocabulary words today. If you come across a word that you don't understand, what's a way that you can figure out what the word means when you're reading?
Figure out the clues around it.
Yeah, you can read the words around it, and those are called your context clues. So we will continue next time with chapter 2, and hopefully we'll learn more about grandfather's exciting news.
Yeah.
All right, good job.
All right.
I'm gonna press the button.